everybody was able to print the image. So I have a on board, it's 8 by 10. And I will try to cover as many as possible developments of the classes depending on what we have. And I think I tried to prepare everything, but I think I didn't prepare everything after all. So first thing, how we're going to transfer this image on the board. Except if, so you have a board and white paper lying on top of it. That will not be, so what could be done, if you don't have any tracing paper, in my classes, if you remember, I had a special tracing printed, inkjet printed on tracing paper, and then you were able to trace it just by pushing on the line. So what you can do, if you turn the paper, we can make handmade transferring paper. If you turn, so now you have like this printed. So we can apply some coloring agent to enable us to transfer. What we can do, what could be done? So one of the, if you have pigments, what you can do, for example, I use a red iron oxide or orange iron oxide. You can do like with a clean brush, please. A clean, dry brush. What you can do, you can see a little bit of line. You can add some pigment and rub on it, on the lines. So this is one of the options. If you have a tracing paper, something like you can buy an art supply store, looks like this. You can also use it, then you don't have to go into any other troubles. So all you can do, you can just place your tracing paper on the board and the image on top of it. Okay, so another option, if you don't have any pigments, you can take a pencil, make sure that it's soft pencil, and just color the lines like this. So I don't know what you have, so I'll take the long way. Actually, this method that I'm showing now, I have been using for years. And then one of my students suggested using pigment like this, dry pigments. It's also typical. So providing what it's done. So also with the halo, I suspect that you don't have the tool, so you can also do the line that you see the halo. You can also transfer it in this way. Treat it like any other line. So if you spread pigments like this, so make sure you wipe, so it's not too much powder. So use any napkin or paper towel, and see how much pigment, so it doesn't spread all over the entire thing. Okay, so what I place it on my painting surface, on my board. I'm using my typical board there. That's simple. So I had a few boards left. That's 8 by 10, and they're the boards I use for my classes and for the paintings. The plywood, 3/4 plywood, finished both sides. It's for finished carpentry, if you know. Another option. So if sorry, I would like to mention some other options that you can use. The surface has to be a stiff, rigid surface. Otherwise, the way we apply pigment, like egg tempera, it's not necessarily pigment, but egg tempera, it has to be rigid. Otherwise, it will crack. So that's why I can't recommend any paper, even strong paper. Maybe cardboard, but it also has to be primed. So what you can use, I'll show you. So this is sorry, it's for my painting class, and some of you probably recognize it. So what I used, this is artboard, it's 9 by 12, and I from art supply store. It's thin, as you can see, and it's quite, yeah, rigid. It's perfect, and it's only level, so it could be sold like this, unfinished or finished, covered with gesso. However, I would, if you're more serious about icon painting or painting, not necessarily icon painting, but temper, I, even if it was finished, but it's not the best one finished. It's not as smooth as I would like it to have. So also you can buy cradle wooden panels. That's also a good option, but they need to be, but it'll have to be primed with gesso. This is kind of some other boards that I had. That's from was Michael Art Supplies. Actually, it's quite nice. Okay, so I will get the board. I know where it is, but I will show it later. It's ampersand clay board that could be also purchased online or ordered from art supply store. The brushes that I have, as I mentioned, there's a supplies mentioned that number 6, 3, and 0. Okay, so next step. So I assume that while I was talking, you were able to start transferring the drawing. And what I do now is I transfer. If you use, you can try with a pencil and see whether that you can see the line. Or if you can't see the line, I suggest even using a regular pen. And then you can press stronger. Okay. So you can see the line, my line. It's a nice long movement like this. Once in a while, please check whether you can see the line. And here. So I press on my pencil. It's quite strong. I have applied quite a bit of pressure. Okay, it's a question from send me a picture. Okay, I will have a look. This was a question. Okay, yeah, so thank you for sending it. Yeah, it's good. That's probably what Maria, that's I responding regarding the picture. Okay, she sent me in the transfer. Yeah, that probably maybe we can think about painting a frame around your image. Okay, so I've done so far. I haven't on curl. And I know this is the point. It's the center of my halo. So what I intentionally I didn't transfer this thing that will come. It's like a connection. It's like an antenna. It's like hearing, according to the way how he receives messages. Messages. You're all listening. So that's why I didn't transfer them right now because I'm going to apply gold and I will show other options. If you don't have any gold leaf paint, you have paint maybe, I will cover what else you can do, what other options you have. So let me get my tool, another tool. So as you remember from my classes that we always use to compass tool for drawing perfect circles. But if you don't have anything like that, I suggest you just transfer this image on the surface like this. And I will use it as mirroring. Okay, so I have mine. So this time what uh, if you're missing, you see you're missing somewhere lines, you can just take a pencil like this, and I just added the lines when I. If your board is a little bit smaller, or I mean larger, you can, and the drawing didn't come to the end, you can easily extend the lines to the end like this. This is printed. This is the image I printed. It's a very famous icon, Archangel Gabriel, gold hair. It's from 12th century icon. That's in Russia, in the Critical Gallery, the famous icon. And we will follow these colors probably. That the faces actually I transferred from this icon because it's more like a square. All I added more close down. Regarding this green color, I don't know. That's such an old icon. Probably it has to be gold. And I can see like around there's a halo line, but nobody knows. I don't know what happened to it. That why it's green here. Actually, it's a restoration process. So now back to our drawing. So at this stage, so we could apply. I will show how I apply gold. So you need to apply gold, I mean artificial gold leaf, something like this. And I suggest if you interested in this, if you ever buy, make sure that you buy the transfer gold. That's it's attached to backing paper. Okay. It is much more difficult to buy the transfer gold that has artificial gold leaf. That I bought online. It's very difficult to find it attached. Most of the time it's like this. It's loose leaf, which is also possible to apply. So whatever I can show both methods, and I can show also the method of painting. So also I suggest if you do not have gold leaf, probably you don't have it, you can use gold paint. You can use even if you have gold, either watercolor gold paint or even acrylic gold paint. Just all you can just apply gold and gold around it. So what I use for acrylic, yeah, that could order some. Yes, so if anybody would like to apply gold leaf later, so what you can do, you can paint with some yellow color, something that imitate the color of gold. So if you don't have it, what if you don't have it, so you can also mix the color, yellow color, and apply it as instead of gold. So meanwhile, I'll show what I use for application. Here's my adhesive size. The paint, the glue, and I use some old brush, or not the best brush, because once it's used for the glue, it can be used for painting again. Could be washed, but not the best of. So what I do now, so I add a glue, and I add a little bit of pigment, or any yellow or color, yellow paint. And then apply it quite. This I paint glue. This is glue that I paint under gold. So this is the area where gold will be. And you can see that I'm moving in one direction, and do not, I smooth it nicely, so I do not attempt to come back. So once you start painting, please continue, because it dries quickly enough, and when you few seconds later, and it dries, and the process is not the same. So you will not get it smooth surfaces for gold preparing. Okay. Make sure there are no puddles. Spread it nicely. Okay, so that's done, and I will wait for a few minutes to make it tacky. It's wet, so it's better to wait for a few minutes. So the reason why I added a little bit of yellow color. So first, it creates a nice backing for the gold, so it warms up the board, or the white acrylic board. And what is more important, that if imperfection, if the gold is not applied, there's always some cracks, like a tiny crack. The yellow background will not show as strongly as the white one. So I will move this away for a few minutes, and now we're going to make egg emulsion. I hope, is everybody with me? So are you following? Any questions so far? Any comments? Anything? Okay, so I will continue then with the egg. I hope everybody has an egg. There's a shortage of eggs. I got extra a dozen of eggs, even before even my other portion of over. Okay, so now we have to make egg emulsion. So I have water, I have egg, I have a knife, and I have a small container to put the egg. And also I would like to have a small container to save my, right? Here's I have also just a little bit of white vinegar, or any vinegar will do, and a cup to save egg white. So what I first do, I break an egg, and I separate the egg, the yolk from the white. Like in the kitchen, like if you are making custard or any recipe requires separation. I use a paper towel. So all I do is now I place it in a paper towel. It will, this is method very easy to use because it will hold the egg in the paper towel rather than holding in the hand. Now I make a small hole and I drain the yellow stuff, just the yellow, into the container that I'm going to mix like this. So I'm holding, I'm pressing, holding, and squeezing, and here we are. As you can see, all this the membrane, the sac that surrounded the egg yolk, is inside, and then it can be discarded. This is egg white used for later in scrambled eggs. Now we have egg yolk, just the yellow part, and we need to fill it probably about the same amount as yellow. We need to add the same amount of water, and I hold in my hand and I add water. Okay. Approximately equal amount of yellow stuff and water, and a few drops of vinegar. A few, several, 7, 8, 10. It preserves the texture, the mixture. It's very important. Otherwise, even in the refrigerator, it will go bad within a couple of days. So now I stir it. I can use a knife, but without making bubbles. Or you can use even your brush. Yeah, we have a very nice mixture. Make sure when you stir like this, you do not create bubbles. I have a few, but it's not important. Brush. I will put my egg emulsion in these containers. This is an older one that I'm going to use today because I want to use it before then. They come from any medicine tinctures or vitamins, and very convenient because they're heavy and they have nice seal when they closed. They hold it nice, so well that you can even carry them in the bag. So coming back to our icon. So I touch, okay, I can feel it's tacky, but not wet. This is what we need. And I will use my gold. It's very easy to use and transfer, but I think I'm going to show a more difficult option when you don't have transfer gold attached with baking paper, but you have gold. You have loose pages. That's much more common. So what I do, I'll just make sure. So I open the pages. I take a sheet like this with my hands very carefully and place it like this. And then press to the glue. Okay. What I do with the rest, again, this still could be used. So I will tear this part. It is attached to the gold or to the glue where I will place it and place it here. Only need 2 pages. Didn't save much, and then I take another one. Make sure it covers, and so once you place it, you will not be able to move it. So just press it and make sure that's overlap. If you ever work with real gold, please do not attempt to take it with your bare hands, real gold. Real gold, the only type I use is a transfer real gold. You remember from my workshops, I've always used to also transfer artificial gold. It was much, much easier to handle. I'm showing a little bit more difficult option. And as I mentioned, if you don't have any gold now, no problem. The goal of this workshop is not so much about gold, but learning some basic introduction to icon painting. Whether you have gold leaf or you don't have it, it's not a problem. So what I'm doing now, I take a simple sheet of paper and I press gold. That's why I apply quite a bit of pressure. More importantly, I wash also so the edges. So now what I do next, I take a dry brush and remove the gold leftovers. Everything that didn't stick to the surface where we applied glue. I have on the sides. These parts unfortunately will not be able to save, and I'm not saving them. I'm just, you can't store them. Once they're removed between the paper, it's finished. Okay. Yes, it is a little bit more challenging to work with it, but I would say that the way how it looks, the end result is better with loose artificial gold. Make sure that you don't have any gold flakes, so they don't end up in our paint. I apply a little bit of moisture on my napkin and collect the gold flakes. With moisture here, and again. Okay. So what's next? So in case if you didn't have, now you have egg emulsion. So if you were waiting for what to paint, and you would like to start painting now, and you didn't have any gold leaf, I suggest that you take your palette, your brushes, and apply any yellow color that you have, yellow ochre, or if you have, in case if you're painting with not with dry pigments, but with watercolors. This is a regular watercolor that I use sometimes for my for painting icons, together with egg emulsion. This is just a regular, not professional grade. Moving the icon. Yeah, here. Watercolor also contains a lot of pigment, especially professional one. Why I asked and I suggested using dry, because dry watercolor in pens are much better to use with egg emulsion than in tubes. The one that it contains in tubes, it has a lot of filling and also a kind of glycerin that will not give the same effect as a dry watercolor. So I use as little as possible water. All I need the color. So I use my brush, get enough paint or watercolor, and place it in my palette. So if this is, I have a very limited, there's only 10 colors. If you have more, you can probably have nicer yellow, like ochre yellow for the halo. I have just only kind of bright yellow. And what I do next, I add in this watercolor, I add egg emulsion. And here you have Egg Tempera. And you can paint with it as we're going to paint with dry pigments. Like for example, I'll show, so that if you're applying on a halo now, you can apply now or wait when we start applying other colors. So for those who used gold leaf, artificial gold leaf, there's one more step before starting painting with egg emulsion. We need to treat the edges of this halo so the gold, so that our pigment will adhere to a metal leaf. Because water-based paint will not adhere. For example, I have a leaf over here. It doesn't stick to gold. It rolls off gold. We're not going to paint much on it, but to prevent egg emulsion creating a gap between paint and gold leaf, we need to apply another material. I use in my classes, it's a sealer. It's typically sold with a kit with a gold leafing kit with adhesive. If you have, you can use this, and all you do is get a little bit on a fine old brush and start applying on the very edge surface, on the very edge, like this. So what I also discovered, if you don't have the sealer, but you have glue, they're from the same family, you can use this glue instead of a sealer and do this, and it will do the same thing. You will apply it a little bit on this side, about 1 millimeter, not more. You don't need to apply more. You don't need to apply on the whiteboard, but you need to apply it on the edge of the gold metal leaf, gold leaf. So another option, and that's what I traditionally use in icon painting and egg tempera painting, is garlic, real garlic. Okay, I have a sharp knife and garlic. Okay. So what I do with garlic, of course, if you're just painting with the halo with any paint, egg emulsion or acrylic or gold paint, you don't need to do this. This is applicable only when you're using metal leaf. So with garlic, you need fresh, so you cut it. That's a traditional, very traditional method that was used for generations in icon painting. And then you take it, and you start rubbing it on the edge. So instead of glue or sealer, you apply it on the surface. So this garlic, it creates a very thin film, and that um, will make a miracle that you will be able to glue, to apply paint, water-based paint on that area. So I will not use garlic for now. It's just an explanation. And I will finish just one side applying, so I will be able to paint. Just wait for me for. So when I'm applying this sealer, I make sure that there's no bubbles, no puddles, just nice and smooth. Okay. So I've applied on inside the halo and outside, but I will do that later. I don't want to use any time, so I would like us to start painting. Okay, almost ready. Okay, it's one more step. To promote adhesion for on this painting surface and pigments and egg emulsion, I suggest applying egg emulsion as it is. So what I mean by that, I have a little bit of egg emulsion. It's my water. And I use a large brush, and I just paint egg emulsion on our image. If you have a larger brush, it will be faster, but I have a smaller brush. If it's a little bit too much egg emulsion, you can take over the paper napkin and just carefully remove it. But please do not rub too much, otherwise your drawing will disappear. It will be just removed together with egg emulsion. A bit more. We remove some grease from a painting like this, and also if any particles that were left from our gold flakes, and also graphite or pigments will be cleaned. So we're cleaning and preparing the surface. Okay, so this makes me that I'm ready to paint. How is everybody doing?